All right, so that brings us to our main event tonight, which is our slightly different Q&A style, forum style presentation or discussion on sales and marketing. So how many people here have noticed that, with sales and marketing, things have changed over the past couple of years or so? Anyone noticed that at all? Yep, a few of us. Yep, excellent. I think it was last week or a couple of weeks ago, we had Jemima Ashley on, who is a branding and visibility specialist, and she said something really interesting. And I think it's a good preface for where we start today. And that is that since, and Steve Brosman, anyone knows Steve Brosman? He is a sales trainer in Australia, very good sales trainer. He's been a guest on this show before as well. He sent out an email with the same thing. He said that one of the major changes that has happened is that people are not interested in connecting with brands. So they don't care what your brand is or even what your products are. What they are interested in doing is connecting with you as the person. So who's the person that they get to talk to? Who do they get to speak with? Who's the owner of the business? That's where they want to make the connection. So if you're trying to push a brand out there and this is both business to business and business to consumer. So if you're working on just keeping on pushing your brand out and posting on social media, for instance, just in a branded account, then you're going to find that your reach is, and you may have already found that your reach is just going to drop away. You're not going to get the same sort of interaction or same sort of traction that you used to get. But where you do get the traction is where you're posting stuff in your personal profile or as a person. Met someone the other day who they've got a business page, but the business page, they post personal information in a business page as well. But and what they've found is that they are finding a lot more engagement with that. They're getting a lot more leads and inquiries through that there. They're getting a lot less coming through people just trying to get people to engage with a brand. So those of you that are hiding behind a brand or so think you've got a face for radio, then now's the time to bring that face out, bring it in front of the TV and really start to push yourself out there, because that's what people are interested in. So that's how I'd like to preface it. That change has really happened since about 2018, 2019, and it's been something that's really happened sort of more significantly during 2021 and 22 as people have been locked down at home. And their shopping behaviour and their online behaviour has changed. So, and that change has been that rather than going to see people face to face and maybe walking into premises and making appointments and having coffee chats, there are a lot more meetings now that happen like this on Zoom, online, and there are a lot more interactions that happen in these forums here. And in fact, today you are more likely never to meet your customer face to face than you were just 2 years ago. So a lot more is digital. Interesting thing that happens, when we're running a seminar series, we asked people, would you like to have an in-person seminar or would you like to have it online? Guess what most people said? How many people think they want people want an in-person seminar? Who said who thinks they want to have it online? All right. Those that said in-person, that's what people voted for. More people wanted an in-person seminar workshop rather than the online one. When it came time for them to book that seminar, it was the reverse. Well, 90% of people booked for the online one and 10% booked for showing up in person. So that's interesting, huh? So even though people say, what they say is that they want that physical interaction offline, people are still now, their go-to method is still this online interaction. So we've changed forever in that world.
Yeah, but Nick, that could be because you found on people turning up to your seminars with no pants.
Oh, say again, sorry, Michael?
I said that could be because you found on people turning up to your seminars in no pants.
Oh, well, it could be that too as well, too. Yes, thank you. Yes, that is another change online as well, too. People only get dressed from the top up. All right, well, look, we do have Adam Boot waiting in the wings. He's had a few rave reviews from people here today already. Adam is the owner of the Authentic Sales Training Academy. He's been in sales for a very long time. So maybe if you just give us a brief history of your background, Adam, and also curious to know what you've noticed has changed over the years that you've been in sales.
Thanks, Nick. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming along tonight. It's good to have you all here. So I've been in commission sales for over 2 decades. I've run a non-traditional business and I've run a traditional business as well. And I've worked as a business broker, and that's what sort of got me to where I am right now. But in my sales career, I've worked in retail, I've worked in wholesale, I've worked in multiple industries, I've worked face-to-face, I've worked over the phones, and I've sold online. As I said, multiple industries, multiple verticals and sectors. But one thing is for sure, the way that business is done across the multiple areas is exactly the same. So when people talk about, in my world anyway, to niche down, it really doesn't matter, because sales is all about communication. Now, you mentioned before, Nick, how the sales world has changed. The sales world I saw change quickly through COVID, and my idea of how selling needs to change happened prior to COVID. So in COVID, what that did is it stripped everybody away from each other. So human beings lost the human connection, right? And human beings as mammals rely on social connection. That's what we're built for. That's what we crave. So when that was pulled apart, what that actually did is it brought people closer together, people wanting to bond with people that they can actually connect with. And that's why what you're sharing before about people buying you and not your brand has become more relevant than ever before in small business. In big business, it's a different story, but in small business, 100% people are buying you first, and then they buy what you do second, because they believe in you as a person that can deliver what you say you can deliver. So what I saw in my sales career is, when you come from a commission-only sales background, I was a closer, right? I learned every single trick in the book to help overcome objections and help close sales. If you don't sell, we don't eat. It's as simple as that. It's a completely different mindset in that environment than what it is if you're employed on wages with possible commissions and incentives, or straight wages, which many salespeople are. So it really was hunt, close, hunt, close, hunt, close. It wasn't until I was in my first business, which ironically was in network marketing. This was not multi-level, it was direct sales. So it was still hunt, close philosophy. And it wasn't until I had my first 100,000 profit month or commission month that I realized that everything that I was doing was wrong from a sales point of view. And that was because I ended up selling a lot of products and services to people that can't use it, and that people that won't use it, simply because of my agenda to hit that $100,000 commission month. So when I hit that goal and I felt lost and I felt empty and I felt unsatisfied and unfulfilled, because everything that I worked for 4 years was about that moment, I realized that it was my values that were being challenged at that particular moment, and the trajectory for that business went out the door. And that's when I made the conscious or subconscious decision that the way that business is done has to change, because sales is, at the end of the day, a sale is made on every communication. It doesn't matter what it is. A transaction is always made. But what we need to move into is selling is more about being of service. So money is an exchange of service. The more service that we can provide, the more money we will indirectly make. As a business owner, what I see is that the intention in the corporate world is about closing sales, hitting KPIs, making money. The intention is not about how many people's lives can I change. how many people can I serve today? What difference can I make in someone's life with my product and service today? And when we can operate from that space, then you watch how your sales dynamics in your business completely change. So even today, every single sales trainer I see, they talk about two things. How do we overcome objections and how do we close sales? That's not what it's about. What sales is about is how do we build relationships? How do we build unconditional trust? And how do we create an ongoing raving marketing machine for us forever that we don't have to constantly smash the marketplace with? If you come from a marketing background, and this is a really good platform for us to play in, because we all know that touch points have gone through the roof. And my belief is that the reason that touch points have gone through the roof, and for those that don't know what a touch point is, it's how many times you have to see something or someone before you make a buying decision. So back in the old days, Coca-Cola is a great example. They brand Coca-Cola. They don't brand who created Coca-Cola. And the way that they do that, I think there's enough people on this line to remember the old cinemas when we used to have the intermissions at halftime, right? And we could go out and get our refreshments. What people don't know is that Coca-Cola actually had a picture of a can of Coke in all the movie reels that people were going and watching. And that was there for a split second. And what that did is it tricked our subconscious mind to think that we were thirsty. The intermission would come, we'd go out and we'd buy a Coke. So that whole manipulative way of selling is changing because people are looking for connection. People are looking for trust. And it is. Know me, like me, trust me is becoming more relevant now than ever before. So, and people are sick and tired of being sold to. Put your hands up, guys. Who actually likes it when you walk into a shop and before you've gotten 2 steps in, they're onto you like a rash? Who likes it every time you pick up the phone and you can't even say hello and someone's already pitching you? You know? Who actually likes when you know that the person that you're talking to face or on the phone actually doesn't care about you as a person and only cares about your money? See, the business world is not about treating us as people. The business world has been that whole indoctrination of taking advantage of people. So the way that I see the world changing, if it is around connection, which I solely believe it is, if it is around relationship building, which I categorically believe it is, and if it is about human connection, which is absolutely right, what that tells me is old school selling is dead. It can't work. It's got a very short shelf life. And if you want to keep going down that old path, that's fine. You will get short-term results, but you are not building a long-term platform. And when I was working as a business broker, what shocked me the most in the 2 years that I did that was that every single small business that came to me for sale was unsellable. Did you know that over 80% of the businesses that are on the market will not sell? And that's because they are not set up with the long-term vision. They're not set up with the right funnels and systems and processes that are duplicatable. And they're in it for that short-term result. So if we want to have long-term success, we have to switch it around. We have to build stronger, wider platforms or foundations that we can work off so that every time we are talking to a client, that we are putting ourselves in a situation where that client wants to repeat buy, because it costs you 5 times as much to go and get yourself a fresh sale than it does to keep a happy customer. And once you've got that happy customer that's repeat buying, then that's when that happy customer is likely to refer to you. And your closing rates on a referral sale are 69% quicker than what they are on a cold lead. And 69% faster than what they are in a cold lead, and they have a 95% higher chance of buying from you than a cold lead does. So what does that tell you about the way that our buyers are at? The business world is all about us selling, but for us to get better at our game, we want our clients to be buying, and that's the difference.
So it's interesting that you talk about that, Adam, in the sense that that people are looking for relationships. One of the things I noticed with the online world is, and the marketing side of things, is how many people here have noticed that their Facebook and LinkedIn engagement has just really tanked. It's just really gone down, particularly with Facebook. How many people have noticed it just really has gone down a huge amount? Yep. And there's a reason for that. There's a couple of reasons. One of them is that people are seeing too many ads in their feeds. And what I mean by ads, they're paid ads and unpaid ads. So unpaid ads are when people are just posting up organic messages there, which are clearly business messages and business advertising getting to the site. Yes, they do work. Some of them do work. But the things that are really getting the engagement is the personal stories. So, so to give an example, what was it the other day? Now, some of you know that I post up on social media my journey through the gym, and that might be exciting for some people. It might be boring for other people, but it's just something that I post up there. But I met someone the other day who was referred through to me, and his comment was, he said, "Oh, look, I've seen all of your stuff. I've been following your stuff. I like what you do. I really like, what you stand for. I feel like I know you already." And the conversation, we had a 30-minute conversation. At the end of that conversation, we're now doing business together, not because of the product service that I offer, but because of the connection that he's already made with me in that online space. So that connection is just 100% important there. And so that point there is that if you are trying to market to sell things on in your socials, then it's a long route to actually sell things, ironically. But if you're marketing to help people to solve a small and specific issue or problem, or to connect with them, you'll find that the sales cycle is a whole lot quicker. So think about your strategy in terms of your messaging that's going out there. How is it connecting with people? How is it, when I say connecting, how is it hitting them and impacting them in a way that they can say, "Oh, that's just like me." So what you want them to get them to do is to say, have that expression, "Oh, that's just like me." You can start to get that, then you're on the track there to making those connections. And that's the reason why a platform like TikTok has just really taken off. So someone was telling me today that TikTok now has more views on it than YouTube. So YouTube's the big player in the market, but in terms of views, TikTok has now got more views. I'm not sure whether that's 100% true or not, but that was the stat that came through today. But whatever it is, it's really taken off. The reason why it has is because one, people are entertained, but also they're able to say, "Oh, that's just like me." For those of you here that think TikTok is an irrelevant platform because it's only for young kids, the average age of the user on TikTok is 32. So 32 years old is they're people that are working, they've got money, they've got businesses. They are probably some of your ideal clients on there. So what are you doing on a platform like that there? So TikTok works off the interest graph principle. That's essentially, what does that mean, Steve?
Where it's more what people are interested in follow, where Instagram's more on social, they follow people, where TikTok's more of interest of people doing things. Like you might have a lawyer in there, so people zone in on the lawyer, he gets lots of coverage.
Yep, perfect. Yep, and that's why TikTok videos on TikTok go viral sometimes months and months after they were posted. So whereas on Instagram, they'll go viral generally around the time that they are posted, but on TikTok, sometimes you'll get crickets when you post it, but then months later it'll just absolutely take off because it's that principle of interest there. Jeff says, bring back the yellow pages. So, yeah, so yellow pages was, yeah, they were great. And, you know, when you look at our yellow pages now, it's the entire internet. So, yeah, it makes it fairly difficult. All right, any questions in there? Any comments about the about sales and marketing, or any burning sort of questions you've got?
Adam, yeah, I've got one.
Peter, yes.
With your authentic sales training, what tips would you give to people about building relationships and authority?
It's a great question, Peter. The first thing we need to do is be ourselves. So what we need to understand is that everybody on this call tonight is in sales. Okay, we're in business. We are in sales. If you think you're an accountant, you're not. Your business is sales and marketing. Okay, because if you can't get the sales and marketing right, then you have no accounting business to operate. It's pretty straightforward. But what Nick's talking about, and this is where we need to bridge the gap. So if you think about children, children learn through story. Human beings actually learn through story. We don't learn through fact, we learn through storytelling. And when you see people like Nick that are posting up their journeys on Facebook, as an example, about his gym, and he's sharing the story, through his story, he's educating people. Through his story, he's nurturing people. Through his story, he's building connection with people. So the way that I see sales and marketing working effectively is that with our marketing needs to be an extension of who we are, not what we do. Because if we can get that right at the beginning, then the very first interaction that someone's having with us, Peter, is that they're connecting with who we are straight away. So how many of you guys on this call tonight have been pitched by someone, we'll call it a pitch, and we're all looking for the catch? We're all looking for it. We're all looking to try and catch someone out on what they do or what they say, right? But when we're being authentic in our messaging right from the beginning, you can never be caught out. So people are actually seeing you warts and all straight away. So what that shows them is that you're being vulnerable straight away. And when we're being vulnerable straight away, I can guarantee you, your chances of closing a sale with them is so much higher, because they feel like they know you and they feel like you know them, because you're giving them permission to be vulnerable too. So that to me is the quickest way right from the beginning to have our messaging right. We then need to have the right nurturing system in place that enables the people to see us showing up exactly the same way, time after time after time, because that's building deeper trust.
Thanks, Adam. It's all about vulnerability. It's all about transparency, right?
Yep.
It's all about showing the people that we bloody understand them.
That's right. And when I say that to you, Peter, if I wanted to be a sales trainer, where is overcoming objections in that equation? Where is closing the sale in that equation?
Oh, I agree. I agree. Nowhere. No need to it.
No need to it.
Oh, I got a question there from Jody. Do you want to unmute and ask that, Jody, or do you want me to read it out?
There's some people I've talked to, and they say you shouldn't let people know you too well, because then they might find you unprofessional and more of a friend, and they go to the next. I'm a real estate agent, and if they know you too well, they'll use somebody else because they come across more professional than I would, because, yeah, if you're too transparent, is that an issue?
If they want to judge you for being who you are they your ideal client?
No.
That conversation about being professional, unprofessional is a really interesting one, in that it's got nothing to do with being professional or unprofessional. To be professional means you get paid for what you do.
Yep.
To be unprofessional means you don't get paid for what you do. So what they're really saying is is that you are not projecting an image that is an image of someone that they would expect to be in the profession that you're in. So, so is that necessarily a bad thing? I'm not sure that it is. Like, I think today more than ever, what people want is you to show up authentically. So the way you dress, you know, when you're with clients, is the way you would dress when they see you, you know, in some other setting or situation. So you know, the days I used to wear, I used to love my blue suit, my red tie, my white shirt, but those days are really over now. I probably work in corporate still, but those days are over. And that you know, if anyone saw me in a suit and tie, that it'd be this like, what? That, you know, what's happened, or you know, who is he trying to be? But if they see me in jeans and a shirt like this, or a t-shirt that I wear online, it's exactly how they expect to see me. And from a marketing perspective, if you think about you know, how you show up online, and if you think about it from let's say you're on social media, there are things like colors and images. So when you know, people are interested in something and want to click through to your website to find out more, you need to have the same colors and images on your website, so they say to themselves, oh, I'm in the right place. This is familiar to me. It's not weird at all. Like if they go from, say, social media onto something that's quite different, different colors, different images, different language, then what happens in their mind? It's just like this jump that says, hang on, am I in the right place? Am I in the right spot? What's happened here? So so it's actually having that congruency and consistency across all of your platforms. It's the same as you as well too. So so it's not professional. It's not unprofessional to be have an image that they don't expect. Sometimes that's what actually works really well, because that's authentically you.
I write about that too in my book, Nick, and I use the real estate agent as an example, Jody. So, and I'll share this with you all on the line. When I was working out, there was this young girl who just got her real estate license, and I don't know, maybe late 20s, very attractive, great body. All of a sudden went from not earning any money to dressing up in power suits. Within a couple of weeks, had gone out and bought a brand new Audi. And then when she was marketing these properties, she was marketing the properties as if she was, you know, portraying herself to be someone that she's not, because she's trying to create an image for people to want to buy. That to me is just, ugh. You know, don't go selling me all that stuff. Come and talk to me about why would I want this property? What's this property going to do for me? How am I going to feel in this? And this is where the authentic connection comes in, because I know you have not made any money in real estate at all, but you're driving around in a flash car, giving me the impression that you're being very successful. So let me peel that layer back a little bit, and I can start asking a few probing questions, and then I know that you're BSing me.
So you're saying that fake it till you make it is not a way to go these days?
No, I write about that in the book. If you need to fake it, then what are you being? So being authentic is that whole be, do, have philosophy. You've got to be it naturally. You've got to do it naturally, and then you will have it naturally. Whereas society has it around the other way with the have, do, be. We need to pretend that we have it now. We need to pretend that we've been doing it, and then we will then be it. It's the wrong way around.
Here's the interesting thing about that,
Adam.
Here's the interesting thing about it is that I'll come back to you, Paul. Is that we live in an age now of social media. That has changed the game. So you could fake it till you make it before social media, because no one knew who you were, and you know, so before that, so they had no experience of you before that. But today, everything is transparent. Most people have a social media account. Most people are having a look at you and stalking you online, and most people get to see who you are before they even meet you. And so if they meet you and you know, who you are is quite different to what they've experienced on your social media profiles, and they are checking you out on there, then all of a sudden you've just lost credibility and trust too. So you need to show up the same sort of way. Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you hit the nail on the head there, Adam, by the words being authentic is really different from being seen as being professional or unprofessional. Being authentic is not dressing up in clothes and driving a car that you can't afford.
No. But in the old day, it was, Paul. When I had my first commission job, they actually took us out to a suit shop. They suited us up. They paid for the suits so that we would look good.
Yeah.
They told us to spend all of our income on a car, so that people looked at us and thought, "Wow, he must be doing good." And they actually told us to put $1,000 cash in our pocket and to always walk around with $1,000, because every time we put our hand in our pocket, we felt like we were rich. Changed my personality.
Remember the days, and for the, was it Jody's the estate agent here? Remember the days when you went to, you looked at all the pictures in the window, and then the real estate agent put you in his car and drove you around all the different sites, instead of just driving your own car to meet them there.
Got another question here from Diego, asking, how does this translate into an e-commerce shop?
That's a really good question. An e-commerce shop really is price driven, isn't it, at the end of the day? So well, how do you bring
your to answer that?
All right.
I've got a way to answer that there, and this is this here. How many people remember Dollar Shave Club? Anyone ever remember that? That's, yeah, okay. There's Mrs. Red there. So Dollar Shave Club, if you go and Google the video, Dollar Shave Club video, that there was a tongue-in-cheek, authentic, but it was an authentic video by the owner of the company, who was a comedian. And so he used his cheek, his comedy, and his personality in this video. And they grew their company on values of authenticity and of appealing to, they were appealing to men who were sick and tired of paying, way over the top for razor blades by having the Dollar Shave Club. So they had a pricing strategy, but more than the pricing strategy, they connected with people in a way that was fun, it was authentic, and you knew you weren't being done in the eye. You knew you were supporting something that was good for you, and it was good for them. Unfortunately, that company got sold. Well, it was fortunate for them because they sold it for millions of dollars. But the new owners of it, which I think is Colgate Lever, have not carried on the tradition. They've sort of brought it into the corporate world, but they grew that business there on getting to know their customer, not on selling product. So, and just remember with e-commerce stores too, I think it's exactly the same, in that e-commerce for small business owners that are home-based businesses have just absolutely skyrocketed over the past couple of years. And the reason for that is that people have come online. So traditional shopping was they go to the shopping malls or the strip malls and go shopping, particularly for things like birthdays and Christmas. But during lockdowns, they couldn't do that because the shops were closed. They weren't allowed out. So where'd they go? They went online. What they discovered online was a whole new world of online stores that had all sorts of different options. And what was important there was not necessarily the products, although the products were important, but the story of the owners of the products and how they started the store, why they're doing it. And so those stores that had stories with them were the ones that really excelled. And so that is true today. So having a story there is really important, even in your e-commerce.
Yep. So when we're talking about you are your brand, right at the beginning, the philosophy that I have with the sales training is the first thing we need to do is connect with them. So we need to connect with them as people. We need to learn how to communicate with them and communicate with them on their level. And then when we can do those two well, what we're actually doing is we're increasing our conversions. So if you've got that online e-commerce store, what you need to do at the beginning as you're attracting them is to get that connection part right and get the communication part right, and then the conversion will take care of itself.
Awesome. Christian, you've got a question. Anyone's got a question, you can raise your hand or just drop it into chat.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's the first time I've watched Zoom. I've participated in Zoom on my computer. So it was a little bit awkward, and I've just got a new camera, so I'm giving it a go, and it's not really probably in the right position, but I think it's okay for now.
You're looking good, so you've done well.
Awesome. For Adam, how long have you been in the sales business or game?
29 years.
So from what you shared before, I realized that it's a game changer for you, isn't it, to flip things around and not having to be driven with just selling and using tactics to get your customer, but nevertheless to be so authentic and really selling yourself and the product that you're bringing to the customer so that it is of value to them. And as you make the connection or the rapport with them, so they know and they feel that you are giving them value and they're ready to buy for you. Is this correct?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example, and this is a really great question. So a couple of weeks ago, I picked up a new client, and I asked him afterwards why did he choose to engage me, and he said to me, it was your puppy dog approach that made me feel the most comfortable. And I said, I don't have a puppy dog approach. But what I do have is I have the ability to understand people, and I've got the ability to create unconscious rapport with people, and I've got the ability to communicate with them on their level. So depending on who I'm with will determine how I behave, because at the end of the day, connection and communication is about the end user knowing that I understand them.
Yeah.
And because they know that I understand them, then they know that they can trust that I can deliver for them.
So I've got another question for you. So did you feel that you had to make a transition from how you were trained originally to how you're operating now?
100%. So in the business that I've created now with the authentic selling, I have not at all engaged traditional forms of selling to get this going. And the reason for that is that I want to prove that there is a better way, a stronger way, and a business model that has long-term viability by doing it in a better way.
That's awesome. So another question again. So when did you make that transition? How long ago did that happen for you?
When I had that $100,000 month, that was when it all began.
And how long ago was that?
That was 5 years ago.
Oh,
that
okay.
was the start of it.
Cool. That's well before COVID, right?
Yes, that was 2.5 years before COVID.
And have you found this very helpful, that it's the way now COVID has actually put more emphasis on how we have to go that way to really get our customer?
It highlighted to me, what COVID highlighted to me, that I'm on the right track. Yeah. And when I have these conversations with people, no one ever feels like I'm selling to them, because I'm not. So what we're actually doing is we are enabling empowerment in our buyers. We're giving back the power so that they can make empowered buying decisions for them, and then you know what buyer's remorse is? Does everyone know what buyer's remorse is?
Well, we've already bought something and spent so much money, and we suddenly think, oh, maybe we should have done it.
Yeah. So buyer's remorse. So people buy on emotion and then they justify with logic. So all old school selling is all about juicing up their emotions to get them really high to want to buy, and then hitting them with the closing questions. Yeah. When we are operating from a space of empowered buying, there's no buyer's remorse because they've made the decision without any covert. We're not manipulating the outcome. They're actually wanting to buy, and they're justifying to themselves the reason why they want to buy instead of us justifying to them the reason why we want them to buy.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good questions.
I think one of the things that's happened too is when I learned sales, it's probably the same with you, Adam, is that we would take our prospective customers on a journey. So, but we would have the roadmap and we'd have the journey, and we would point them in the direction that we wanted them to go. Today, people want to go on their own journey. And so they don't want to go down the journey that's prescribed for them. They want to sort of go on their own journey, and they can. And how they do it is that when they're online, if they don't like something, they can just switch tabs. They can close the tab and go to another tab. So they can create their own journey. So if you're operating from a model there of trying to force people down a particular route or down a particular journey, then it's just not going to work. They're going to close the tab. They're going to switch off. They're going to go somewhere else. Yep. So our job as business owners and entrepreneurs is to find out and discover what is the journey that our customers want to go on and give them that journey. And that can be quite a challenging submission for us to discover it. But the way to do it, it's really about connecting with people, asking questions, finding out what their interests are, and really following them rather than them following you, if that makes sense.
Nick, can I ask something?
Sure.
I disagree with you a little bit. I think there's every place in the world for a roadmap, provided that roadmap doesn't lead to a sale. If it simply takes a person through a process that you're going to take them through in order to solve a problem they got without trying to sell them anything, then the roadmap is extremely valid.
Perfect. I'd have to agree with you 100% there, Peter. And that having a roadmap or a blueprint is definitely something that is useful and people look for, but trying to force them into a particular route when they don't.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
That's really where the problem is. And
what you're talking about there, Nick,
sales is.
If you don't mind me jumping in, what you're talking about there is the intention behind the initial meeting. So, Peter, people in the traditional sales world have got the intention of closing the sale, as opposed to having the intention of collaborating with someone on an outcome that they want. So, if your intention is just to close before you've even met them, then we can all smell it a mile away. We all feel uncomfortable. No one likes that stuff, and that's the old way of doing it. But if your intention is to collaborate with them, and through that collaboration process, what we're going to do is discover all this stuff. That's where the roadmap is extremely important, because through the process, we're actually getting to what you want, but it's done through collaboration. It's not done through force.
I agree. No persuasion, no convincing. It simply gives them a roadmap of the process you're going to take people through in order to clarify their problem and make sure they know what it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Adam. Sorry to interrupt you, Nick.
Yeah, sorry.
No, all good. No, all good. Anyone else got any questions or comments for tonight? Or any frustrations that you've got out there in your marketing and sales that you're not quite sure how to solve?
Yeah, Nick, I'll have a say on this. I used to love the yellow pages.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony.
Okay, we're back. Okay, as I was saying, I used to love the yellow pages because it was just a matter of putting an ad in the yellow pages. People had seen your ad, they'd ring you up. If you were a half decent salesman and they had a need, you would sell them. Now what's happened, people want to buy a pair of Nike shoes, and many people, believe it or not, more people do this than what you think. They'll get into a Nike store with their camera, they'll ask for the shoes, they'll take a picture of the shoes, they'll ask the salesman 100 questions about the shoes, then they'll go back home and buy them online. So that would be somewhat of a frustration. And personally, I find I've done sales for, I don't know, 50 years. I say 45, but it's more like 50. And I'm working harder than ever. I'm still making money, but I'm working harder than ever for the same result because there's so many platforms. And people want, like, we're all here now. While we're here, my email's going mad. I've probably got 100 emails. I've probably got, 30 or 40 Facebook messages. I've got 15 LinkedIn messages. And all those people, a lot of them want instant Jeff. Well, they can't have me because I'm here for an hour and a half. But that's the frustration I find in business. The people want everything to be instant, right? And I'm still old school, and I'm happy to say, when I sell a product, I believe in the product. I guarantee the product, so I still sell the product hard. When I sold real estate, I used to love selling people real estate for the simple reason I knew if I got them into an investment, they're going to make money in the long term, right? So there was never any, from my point of view, there was never any such thing as bad real estate, if that makes sense to you guys. Anyway, that's my thoughts, guys.
What you're talking about there, Jeff, thanks for bringing that up, is that instant gratification came into the world the moment lay-by went out the door and the credit card system came in, because you could buy it now and you could pay, and you have to pay it off over time. So when we're looking at a world of instant gratification, how do we bring that back into our business where people want to buy from us and not from someone else? And that is in the relationship. Because in the relationship that we build, people, I mean, I personally will spend my money 100% of the time if I know that the other person I'm talking to cares about me. And I can tell when people care, right? It's not hard. We all know it, right? We've got the bullshit detectors that go off. We've got our intuition that's just going crazy. We can tell when people genuinely care, and we can tell when people genuinely don't. And I will always do business, and I will deliberately do business with those that I think have my best interest at heart. If it's a price-driven commodity like a pair of shoes, it's always going to be the big boys with the buying power that wins. You can't compete. But if you choose to go in business in a world where it is a price-driven product, then you've got to find what's your point of difference to create that level of connection with someone else that they would rather give it to you, the small business owner, that's paying more rent than you need to just to keep your family alive, versus the online e-commerce shop that's just drop shipping it from somewhere else. And in that example, we had I live on the Gold Coast, and we used to buy all of our vitamins and minerals from a health food shop in Robina. I could have bought all that stuff online 10, 15% cheaper, but the relationship that I built with the owner from that store was so good that I wanted to give her my money because I knew she cared about my health. So that's where you have to get to.
Yeah.
Can I also add there too, Adam, was I bought shirts online, would you believe, colourful shirts online, and they've arrived. And even though I'd picked the sizes online, so based on what they should be, they've been the wrong size, they've been the wrong thing, they've been the wrong sort of. It hasn't been quite what I've ordered, and I've had to send it back. And the process of sending it back, I've had to pay for the postage to send it back. So I paid for the privilege of buying the stuff online. It didn't fit, or it wasn't right, and then I've got to pay to send it back to get a refund on it. So I ended up just keeping it and selling it on eBay or something we gave away. So what that did to my mentality, thinking, right, I'm not going to buy these online. I'm going to find someone here that I know and I trust that I can go and buy my clothes from. And I've got two places that I buy my clothes from, because I know that when I go in there, I'm going to be looked after, and I'm going to get what I want and what I need. And these shirts that I buy here are 4 to 5 times the price of what they are online.
And that online store, will you ever buy or refer to them again?
Not again. I've seen their ads come up, and I see the shirts. And, oh, that's interesting. Click on it. I think, oh, that's that shop. No, I'm not going to go there again. So that's exactly right.
And but as you say, it's about that relationship, and it can be very personal. And in the case of not a one-man business, I've had an example where I was buying camera equipment a year or so ago, and I went to a store. I phoned them, told them of the story that I'd bought one camera, and then I'd bought another one the same the following year. Yeah, and then a few years have gone by. I'm looking to get a new video camera, and a new SLR, and the guy was so helpful. So he invested in me to understand my business, what I wanted out of a camera. He advised me the pros and cons of a whole heap of different things, and I ended up spending $6.5 grand with him. A year later, I went back to the same store and spoke to a completely different person, and I basically got the bum rush, and I didn't. And I ended up buying 2 cameras in June this year, but I didn't buy them from them, and they lost $6,500 sale.
Wow.
So, yeah, and that's the same store that is one of the cheapest in Sydney, but they didn't get the sale this time.
Relationships are everything.
All right. Well, we've come to towards the end of our session. Anyone got any last comments, questions, or feedback? How's it been? Has it been helpful?
Previously on NKR.
Nick, should people lower their prices when they're competing against other companies?
Should they lower their prices when competing against other companies? Great question. Adam.
Yep. First thing I'm going to ask you to do, Anthony, is just mute yourself down because there's a lot of background noise there.
You must have your TV on, I think.
Yeah, I've got a Wi-Fi.
That's better. Yep.
Yeah.
So, no, I heard you. I'll answer the question. Just mute yourself down. Should you lower your prices to compete? So my answer to that question is, if you continually lower your prices to compete for a sale, when you get the sale, are you making any profit? Because in business, do you survive from profit or turnover?
Turnover.
Profit. Every day of the week. So if you have to reduce your profit margins in order to compete, how long can you sustain that for before you can't?
Right. Because I only have, after 2 years, have 2 contractors. One's unreliable, one's reliable, but I'm putting in bids for events, but I'm getting told that my prices are too high. Like one bid just recently was for 5,500, 5,100 something. And then I got told that another bidder put in a bid for 4,800.
What do you do?
I do security.
Security. So what are they buying? Are they buying your service? Or are they buying your price?
They're buying a service.
So when you're quoting your service to them, what value are you adding in the quote?
We're worked on hours. You might have a 12-hour shift to do, or might have a 6-hour shift to do, depending on what service you require.
So what value are you giving to them? Because when they're looking at a quote like that, if they're only comparing on price, they're not comparing on service.
Yeah, that's what I feel. So that's definitely what I feel.
Yep. So your job when you're about to give a quote is to actually provide value in the service before you give them the quote.
Right. Yep.
And when you're providing the value in the service and you're showing them your points of difference and how you're going to give them so much more, then when they're looking at the price, are they making a decision on the price, or are they making a decision on what you're going to deliver?
I think a lot of them make a decision on price. I've gone to the hotels, I've gone to event organisers, and they have a committee. Groups generally have a committee group, and they mostly come back and say that my prices are dearer than others, and they don't accept my proposals. So,
yeah. So that's where you just need to start working on the value that you're providing before you give them a figure.
Yep. Right.
Yeah, constant discounting, end up in a discounting war. It's just a race to see who can lose the most money quickest.
That's right.
Yeah, true.
Whereas if you hold your price and, as Adam says, show them the value that they would be getting for that extra $1,000.
Yeah.
It's worth it. And because it's easy for you to provide a little bit more value.
That's right.
Yeah, like the people who invested in me to sell me a camera that was only a few dollars cheaper than another camera store, but they invested time, they gave value, and that's part of the value. It's not just a piece of hardware.
Yeah,
that's right.
I know we're going over time, but I want to share something with you that I think you'll all find extremely valuable. And I did a little video blog on this a while back, and the thought processes around this are critical for you. Do you value the value that you bring to the marketplace? Do you value your value that you bring to the marketplace? So if you are in a position where you know that you're providing so much value and you value the value that you bring to the marketplace, then the right people will also value your value the way you do. But if you're just going to be stuck in a price war, then what that tells me is that you do not value the value that you bring to the marketplace. What's your superpower in what you do? That's what you've got to get better at.
And your prospective client would see that and see that as you don't value them.
Yeah, well, I don't see what the customers don't see in the company. I mean, so I send out brochures and things like that, and I still get these knockbacks. But as you guys say, that you're lowering your price, you get doing yourself out of money where you've got to make a wage and you've got to make a profit at the same time. But if you're going to cut your prices, you're going to cut your throat.
Who likes working for free?
That's right.
Who likes working for losing money?
That's right. Exactly right.
And
Who
often,
wants to be rewarded?
And often decisions that are made on price is because that's the only thing that they've got to make a decision on. So if they're not making a decision on price, you have to provide some value there or something else for them to make a decision on. So I think about, what Paul's just said, that salesperson that was with him in the store, helping choose a camera. How much did it cost that salesperson to have that conversation and spend that time with Paul? It didn't cost anything, but their value there was an incredible amount of value, because the value is not in the price, the value's in solving a problem and helping to people make decisions. So if you can help people make decisions so they're comfortable with it and then it's easier for them, then price no longer becomes the issue. But price is only an issue when they've got nothing else to refer to make a decision.
Yeah. And the second person that I spoke to there didn't do that. And I bought this at a different shop.
Yep. Same thing, different. Yep.
and because someone at a different shop did provide that.
Compare the two.
All right. Well, that's about all that we've got time for tonight. Adam,
always fun.
If people want to get in touch with you, I know there's a couple of people mentioned in chat that'd like to get in touch with you. What's the best way to touch base with you after this?
Thanks, Nick. If you download the chat, guys, or if you scroll up to the top, I have put all of my contact details in there. And I've just also put in my LinkedIn link as well. So if we're not connected on LinkedIn, please connect with me on LinkedIn. And for anyone that does connect with me on LinkedIn from tonight's call, I'm happy to give you a free PDF copy of my book, The Art of Authentic Selling, for anybody that would like a copy of that. Or if you want a hard copy, someone asked me for the link on where they can buy that too. So that's in the chat as well. And love to personally sign you one and send it off in the post.
That means I should disconnect and then so that I can re-invite you, connect again.
If we're connected, just send me a give me your book.
Excellent. All right. Well, look, thanks very much for your time here tonight, Adam. I know you've got a family at home there, and they would probably rather you spend your time with them rather than us. So I appreciate you spending your time with the big kids here on the show.
Thanks,
and thanks for everyone for your questions, your insights, and as well. If you do want to watch this again, it will be up on the YouTube channel tomorrow afternoon. Well, that's tomorrow afternoon, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So let's give it, say, about 14 hours. It'll be up there, and it is the Smash Go YouTube channel. You can Google that, or we'll also drop that link into chat as well too. And of course, we'll be back here next week, same time again, with a different topic. So if you're happy to come along to that, love to see you, and we'll drop the link to that into chat as well too. So that's our session tonight on sales and marketing. Again, thanks, Adam. Let's give Adam a big round of applause for coming in here tonight and sharing his wisdom, and look forward to seeing you all again. Have a great night.